It doesn't seem to like being like this. Okay, welcome to live chat. And I think maybe I'm alive, but I don't know where my chat is. Hey, JC News, can you hear me? I can't hear me. I'll tell you, man, I had things planned. I was going to use Streamlabs. I have a webcam and a like microphone speaker thingy. Okay, good. That was supposed to be here yesterday. Of course, it's not here yesterday. Not here today. So hopefully by next week it'll get here. And in the meantime, we'll just fake it. What did they say? Fake it till you make it. You get to see bad graphics and bizarreness. As long as somebody can hear me. And I know I'm stepping on some toes, but I'm just not a morning person. So there's no way I can like wake up in the morning and do a live stream. And I don't know. I thought I'd try it again. It was fun when I did it before. And just I'd like it to be lots of chit chat, people's ideas. And I'll go through this again since JC, at least someone's here. Possibly opinions on like favorite disaster movies or top grossing movies. Which one's your favorite? Or today's subject, like spiritual beings. Because like I really like his holy noodleness. So I thought, thoughtful Thursdays, and every day we can do, or every day, every Thursday, perhaps specialize on a letter, like apocalyptic things. Only thing I'd like not to do is politics, because I have far right friends and far left friends. And the world is so convoluted now, it's just not worth losing friends over stupid things. Whichever side you're on. I mean, I have more important concerns. Social Security. You guys are all probably much younger than I am. And here's something to think about. Spousal support. My ex, who I've now been divorced for longer than I was married to him, told my daughter, asked my daughter what I was living at. Yeah. asked my daughter, what's mom living on? And my daughter said, disability. And he said, well, she could get spousal support out of my Social Security. So in October, I asked about it. Well, I'll get $165 a month more. But instead of being on SSI, disability, I am now on Social Security. Or I will be. It takes a couple months. Instead of just having Medicare Part B and Medicaid, I get Medicare A and B. I'm not sure. Nobody's sure what happens to the drug program. the money's nice, but losing Medicaid isn't. Although, because I'm disabled, I and make half of what the poverty level is, I could probably get my Medicaid back, which is good because I have home health care. And I said, so what if I don't want the spousal support? And the guy at Social Security said, as soon as you ask about it, that's what happens. I said, what if I don't turn in the paperwork? It just takes longer, but you're still going to lose your SSI. And it's like, wonderful. They don't even give you a choice. So in a couple months, I guess I know if I'm living or dying. I just got a thing from my Medicaid drug plan, and I only have to pay like a couple $100 a month, which should be paid by the Medicaid, which I may or may not have. And it's like, this is insane. It's crazy. Don't get old. I sort of picked a weird time to do this because I've actually been sick since December with house. Yeah, and we all adapt. But I've been sick with an E. coli infection since December. Finally went to a decent emergency room an hour away. And, gee, I have an infection. It raises my blood sugar. Eventually you get dehydrated. And then you start getting headaches because you're dehydrated. Oh, let's fix it all and give you some antibiotics. Oh, I remember when I was 56, I used to be able to walk and go fishing. Well, there's a few places I can still go fishing. Well, as long as there's still water. It's just, I still don't feel like I've gotten old. I still remember when I used to like be able to buck a ton of hay and it wasn't any problem. Now, lifting a bag of groceries, well, it's easier than it used to be since groceries are so expensive. And it's like, hey, let's get on a better diet. Let's get those fruits and vegetables and, good stuff. And it's like, you know why people buy crap? Because it costs too much. I would love a steak, but it's $14 a pound or more. Yeah, now that's really true. Getting old is not for wimps. There's things I used to joke about, like, oh, food or medication. I actually might have to make this decision in real life. But I have lots of food because I'm kind of like a prepper. And my late husband, instead of buying 1 can, he'd buy 2 cans. $25 for a decent steak. See, I haven't even looked. I mean, it's like, we don't even go out for hamburgers anymore. Because, like, for 2 people, it's $40 for hamburgers, fries, and a drink. And that's crazy. We do, however, in Santa Fe, New Mexico, have this restaurant called Sunrise. And for like between, 13 and high end 17, you can get like a full restaurant dinner plate full of really, really good Mexican food. There's sopapillas. The like old style hot dog baskets that they put the paper in and put hot dogs or French fries. Brandon, those sopapillas are that big. They make Navajo tacos, chili rellenos. They have American food. Their chicken fried steak you can cut with a fork. Fantastic, that like the best food deal. Because like you roll out of there. Their prices are reasonable. The food is good. The service is good. Hey, Craig, how's the pup? I want a Great Dane so bad, but I have to wait. Um, I mean, eggs. I can't believe how many people are getting arrested right now. It's like totally insane. However, I've been working really hard with Four Corner Fist in the air, and he got sent charged guilty and sentenced for filming. Oh, excuse me, he wasn't filming, he was resisting and obstructing. And we appealed to district court, and of course, buddy, 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 and lost there. And so, hey, he's not guilty. We went to the appeal court. Now, a really weird thing happened. His case was picked up by a new New Mexico program. They're calling it the Pilot Project, to assure that pro se people get justice. So he has a appeal lawyer who works with the Supreme Court in New Mexico, and I actually think she's really competent. She's concerned. One of the things she said to him was, "Oh, please don't let this stop your activism. That'd be horrible." So at least she believes it. Um, and other people are getting arrested. And as a community, and this is one reason I really like Four Corners, we both believe that we need to support each other. And because only as a community are we going to stop them from criminalizing filming. Because, it's just like once they start criminalizing filming, there goes freedom of speech, there goes freedom of religion, there goes the right to assembly. I mean, they just want to take everything away from us. And we can't let that happen. And, I think there was a point where Fort Corner was getting kind of sort of worn out, and, well, yeah, it's like almost easier just to give in. And it is easier to give in. And I told him, look, you're the nice, quiet native, and I'm the loudmouth Jew, and I am not going to stop. I will push you, I will bug you, because you're not guilty. And you need to stick with it to prove to them that you're not guilty, that you're not going to give up. You have the right to film in public. And if it always irritates me, this backbiting and, oh, we're buddy buddy until I talk to somebody else and then I hate your guts. It's like, if we're a community, we need to be able to support everybody, even if you don't agree with some of the things that they say or that they do. As a community, what we're trying to do is very important to the Constitution. It's important for the next generation and the generation after that. And as long as we fight, we have a chance. It's hard. I mean, when Fort Corner brought the first set of appeal papers over and we started going through them, I was just like, whoa, I've done advocacy before, but this is totally out of this world. Like, the things they ask for, I mean, some of them are easy, but then you start looking into case law, and it's which case law fits best. I mean, this one deals with immigration, but the idea is right. I've never in my life read so many case laws in my entire life. And I think his lawyer's a little surprised because we've sent her some of the research that we've done. And it's like, we've done the research. You might as well look at it. We've, had other people in the community helping us. because what we do is important. I mean, just think what would have happened if Rodney King was never filmed. It probably would have taken years before somebody was brave enough. Yeah, well, see, that's why um, Justin's been going pro se, and we knew that we were going to lose in district court, because going pro se in a good old boys community is really hard. But it's working out because, we got this cool lawyer through, the state. It's a public defender, but she's connected with the Supreme Court of New Mexico. And obviously, looking at the case, there had to be something about it that struck because it's run by the Supreme Court, that struck the Supreme Court as being wrong. And I think a lot of it, to keep going on, you really need somebody behind you who's going to push, because it does get so exasperating, and just like, it's so much easier, especially financially, to just not do it. But if each mistake that you make, you learn from it. And this, I'll tell you, has been one bizarre learning experience. And I figure it may take another year or two. Yeah, Brandon, I definitely agree with JC. Never blame yourself. I always tell my daughter, there's a reason something happens. Even if you just feel you need to turn right rather than left, there's always a reason, and we may not know the reason. We might not ever know the reason, but there is a reason. And just, like JC said, you can't win every battle. But each battle that you lose, you should try and learn something from, and just keep going on. Because if we give up, there go our rights. I mean, we're already seeing rights go down the window. I mean, I went to the company that does my home health care for my quarterly interview. And on their desk, they have the rights, and I did a video on it. What to do if ICE shows up at your work, your house, pulls you over. They're pulling over, and this company is about half Hispanic and half Native American. They've had more Native Americans pulled over by ICE than Hispanics. And it's like ICE going onto the Navajo reservation. They were here first. They're not the immigrants. If the immigrants need to leave, well, I'm sure the natives would be really happy about that. And I mean, like, poor Four Corner today went to the public meeting on fracking, and we were actually talking about that, because there's, like, sort of, I feel like it's sneak drilling. Trump saying drill, 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 and the oil companies that have leases on the Navajo land aren't drilling straight down anymore. They're drilling at 45 and 30 and 20-degree angles to get to the properties that they don't have leases on. Not that there's a lot of water up there anyway, but they're going to ruin, what springs are up there. And it was supposed to be a public meeting. Soon as Four Corners starts putting up his tripod, oh, this is a private meeting. This is only for people that we lease from. We don't want you filming in here. And it's like, what are they trying to hide? It's just like, that's why the cops don't want us to film them. God forbid should they do something wrong and get caught. or do things the way that they've been taught. I want to find an off the record police officer and ask them, yeah, I mean, everywhere's going dry. It's, not just up here, we're always dry. Um, Sorry about my mother. She'll only call another 8 or 9 times. I didn't talk to her yesterday. It'll go away. It'll go away, I promise. I love my mother, don't get me wrong. But I'm not dead yet. Or actually, maybe she thinks she's dying. I took my mother was living in California, down in Chula Vista, below San Diego, and she started getting sick. And her voice got really raspy, and it turns out that all the pollution from Mexico that's coming up the coast and spraying into the air from the water, people are starting to get really sick from it. And my mom had Legionnaires like, I don't know, 30 or 40 years ago. So she tends to get lung infections. And the doctor basically said, well, right now you have a bacterial infection. I can give you antibiotics. It's going to come right back because you're breathing the air. And you sort of have a choice. Stay here and die or move. So I moved her to Texas. My mother's a yellow dog Democrat. Lifelong. And she was absolutely horrified. She's in an assisted living place. And I said, look, Texas has really good medical. You have 4 grandchildren there and 10 and a half, great-grandchildren. It's a great place. Medical there is really awesome, I will admit. Her big joke is that nobody in Texas has 2 brain cells to rub together and, well, so what did you do all your life? Well, I raised 7 kids on a ranch was about 10 miles away from here. Ever been out of Texas? Oh, no, I ain't been more than 50 miles away from here. Like I said, I had to raise 7 kids on the farm. My mom cracks me up sometimes. But she paints. She does all kinds of things. And medical there, and my daughter works for Baylor, Scott and White. And my mom has seen specialists I didn't even know existed. And I can understand that, she wants to be a hermit, but my mom's 90 years old. She's still writing and publishing books. She it was December, she had an art show because she paints. She has another art show coming up. She has plenty of things to do. She gets to play with the great-grandchildren. I think personally she has more interactions with the kids than she did with anybody else. My son takes her to lunch every day. Oh, now that sounds like that'd be an interesting interview, Brandon. See, I want to know if they are taught anything constitutional when they go to school, because it's like they say that their constitution, they're there to uphold the Constitution. If you don't know what the Constitution is, or even the basics, how can you uphold it? And all it takes is 10 minutes to go over raps. Memorize it. Raps. Religion, assembly. Religion, assembly, press, petition, and speech. Voila, you got the 5 freedoms. And then you could go from there. It's not that hard. But yeah, Brandon, that sounds like it could be a really interesting interviews. Some of the interviews that Four Corners and other people have done are really interesting also. Um, and I think, if you go into the interview without wanting to eat the cop's head off, you can learn a lot. Um, of course, I'd probably want to eat the cop's head off, but that's not me. Um, I think I'm too much of an old lady now, which kind of really sucks. But um, I mean, like if I do want to keep this going. So, like any suggestions or topics you guys want to talk about, um, that's cool with me. And I don't know how to put somebody up on YouTube. Um, but next week when I'm doing Streamlabs, you guys are welcome to come up and talk about what you're doing, what you think is important for whatever community. Because, like, I'm a member of several communities. Because, well, I actually started sort of with fish. And the very first auditor I watched was New Mexico's citizen who suggested watching good old Chuck. And then I watched, a lot of Chuck and a lot of Freedom to Film and a lot of the Indiana guys, and then discovered, wow, they're all over the country. Oh, thanks, JC. Which I thought was fantastic. And like, I'm really sorry that I missed meeting Press Harder and Tapatios. I got some cookies from West Side, and I was at the bus station in Phoenix for like an hour and a half. So I thought maybe, we could hang out or something. She just came and dropped the cookies off, and when I got home, I was, but that gives you a long time. Don't feel like a baby at 38. You have experience under your belt. It's like when you're 15 and say, please do a shout out on me. Um, I'm filming fire engines going past my house because I live 2 houses down from the fire department. It's like, so you just film them going past your house? Yeah, I'm out there in the community in my front yard. And it's like, well, at least he's staying safe at 15. So maybe when he gets a little bit older, And that's the thing. That's one thing that I really admired about Chuck Bronson is that when I asked questions, he was willing to take the time for a quote newbie and answer some of my questions and help me. Yeah, I was so upset I missed him. But, I was talking on one of my live streams and Tapatios was like, I was in the car when she dropped the cookies off at the bus station. You were the one at the bus station? Oh my God, she didn't even tell me. And it's like, oh, we could have met. And then I was helping my dad move, and I was going to be stuck in Phoenix for a couple hours. And of course, he goes and moves on me, and it's like, oh, well, I ended up taking Amtrak anyway, which was, with a service dog, a very interesting experience. It's sort of a toss-up whether I like the bus. Okay, stay safe when you're out there, JC. Oh, yeah. Well, being a girl, I'd be kind of... Well, I'm an older woman, so I guess I'm not a girl. But I've heard about that Joe Cool. I've talked to him a couple times. He's pretty cool. But, it's like I almost wish we could have, like, meet and greets in several areas. And then you get well, it's too far. But I drive to Texas, um, like all the time. Colorado's not that far. Oklahoma's not that far. Arizona's not that far. So who knows? I think it's cool to meet people in the community. Um, and to help people. So just remember, Brandon, if you ever have a question, um, me, I'm sure JC, Four Corners will answer questions. There's a lot of us that will try and help. Um, because without young people joining, we're all going to get old and die, and there won't be anybody left. They talk about that in the fish community all the time. Oh, all these people who, raise and breed fish are getting old, and pretty soon there won't be any people breeding fish. In my case, I won't be breeding fancy mice, just rats. Rats are so much smarter than mice. So, like, I'm members of several communities, and they're all the same. They all have their stupid little arguments and spats, and, well, I don't like the way this person does that, or, you know, your hamster needs more floor space, but don't give it a bin. Even though it has twice the floor space, it's not a good idea. It's like more floor space, but not with a bin, only with a wire cage. Kansas. 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 I have a fish friend who lives in Kansas. My nieces are south of you in Missouri, sort of southeastish, I guess. I've been in like 48 states. Never been in Hawaii or Alaska, but been everywhere else. Are you guys getting slammed by snow and weather? It used to be us. I'm in New Mexico. And like, I can't believe it's like yesterday it was 40 degrees colder in Texas where my kids are than it was here. It's like, it's supposed to be hot and humid in Texas. But I'm actually looking forward to this week because it's supposed to be like in the 60s. So I'm going to go see if there's any water left in the lakes and the reservoirs and maybe go fishing. Maybe do some rock hounding because I found a couple places that are right off the road that I can crawl to. Okay, it's not that bad yet, but I don't walk. It's been like 3 years since I've walked, probably more than from the car to the front of the store. I have a back procedure March 10th, which hopefully will relieve some pain. And if it does, I get to go back to doing things slowly. Got to build up my stamina again. So I'll be walking around during a live and somebody will say, "Hey, dude, you really need to go talk to the doctor. You're huffing and puffing." It's like, yeah, that's what happens when you sit on your butt. Oh, -5. Oh, it's a nice 44 degrees here right now. And no snow. Although I do miss the snow because I've lived in the area all my life and I remember like 2 feet of snow on the ground and we still had to walk to the bus. We still had to go to school. Now they have half an inch and it's just like, oh, okay. Wow. -5. I think it's supposed to be like 0 or -1 in Texas where my daughter lives right now. And it's freaking 44 degrees here. It's totally insane. But the wind chill out there, I mean, we have lots of hills and mountains and It just feels like, when you go past one of those hills and hit a canyon and the wind's blowing through, you just move over a lane. Oh my. Okay, now that's getting cold. You're giving me goosebumps. I might have to go put on a jacket. That's cold. I don't think it's been that cold here for years. And even, my neighbor was raised here, and we talk about how there used to be, 2, 3 feet of snow, go up in the mountains, and when the snowplows went through, there's like, they cut through, and there's like 12 feet, a 12-foot snow wall next to you. I have pictures of it from when I was a little kid. Like now, it just doesn't snow, or it snows and it melts the next day, and it's like, then you're just left. We have dirt roads. You're just left with a muddy mess. But the wind chills really kill you, because my daughter's in a kind of flat area, and if it weren't for the trees around their house, you go out in the middle of the hayfield and it'll just blow you right over. Just totally amazing. So what are your thoughts on being friends and helping community, Brandon? Yeah, I saw a really nice black Corvette convertible, and it's like, not on my road. Yeah, I'm trying to work on saving up the $200 to get the neighbor to come out with his giant tractor and tractor my road. Oh, what are your feelings about, the backbiting in the community versus the real way to get things done? Well, in my opinion, is to help people and to try and be friends and support other people. Or did I say it too fast and too confusing? I get that way sometimes. I'm old, my brain. I mean, I believe that, the community is important. And, well, I've been so sick since December that it's been really hard for me to keep up. Ah, good idea. It's amazing how many drama queens and kings there are. It's like, I don't even know. I think I have maybe 400 or 500 subscribers. And I've been on YouTube for years and years. And it's like, the people, oh, I only have 1,000 subscribers. I need to get up to, 10,000 or 2,000 and it's like, I don't care, because I do it for myself. Hey, brother, we're talking about community. And I talked earlier about the disastrous public oil meeting. I can't believe they did that to you. Brandon and I were talking about, beliefs of not starting drama, and the backbiting, and how we really should support each other. And how I support you. I kick you in the butt and tell you you're innocent. Keep going, keep going. But yeah, I don't know if you were here, Brandon, when I was talking about Four Corner went out this morning to film a public meeting on oil and oil drilling and fracking on the Navajo Nation. And he started setting up this tripod, and it immediately became well, we really don't want you filming, and this is not a public meeting. This is an invite private meeting. And, okay. It was like, what are they trying to hide? I thought that, just as Four Corners said that. And nobody has a lot of water anymore. You know, the water table's getting ruined, and it's really dry out there. And, you know, like Four Corners said, people need to find out and know what's going on and protect the land. I mean, pretty soon I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the reservations just shut their doors. I mean, Trump's already threatening to take away, you know, federal money. It's insane. Okay, here's the deal. Break the treaty, take away our federal money, and give us all our land back. That would be interesting. But hopefully next week it will be better, because I'll have my webcam. And I actually may do a couple lives from Farmington, because I enjoy going up there. All right, I'm just after the Navajo tacos made with mutton. No, that's Leo's fault. Should have seen, it was funny because Four Corner came over to the house so we could work on his case. Leo saw him and got all excited, and I was like, poor Four Corners going, Leo, I don't have any Navajo taco for you. You got to mellow out. He was like so excited. He's a good dog, though. So what else is going on up there, Four Corner? Brandon looks like he has an possibly interesting yeah, I always figure if you don't vote, you should keep your mouth shut. It's like, if you don't vote, then, you know, why are you complaining? You didn't try and change anything, and one vote could make a difference if there's enough one votes. I just don't like the you're totally wrong, you're totally right. I think Elon Musk pisses me off the most, because he wasn't elected. He was just kind of allowed to run rampant. And oh no, you have free speech. It's just, you know, if you don't attempt to get the person you want elected and someone else wins, it's like you didn't even try. I don't know, there's times I voted and times I just kind of decided it wasn't worth it. Which is, you know, against what I believe, but I mean, at this point in time, I sort of think it's very important to protect our Constitution and to keep our democracy. Because I really am concerned about, like, living under a dictator or a king. Oh, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's never land to the free. Yeah, well, that I have to agree with Brandon. There was kind of like no choice. I mean, my neighbor is like, I voted for Trump because I'm a Republican, and I'm not happy. I don't think it's ever been land to the free, because everybody's always fought over land rights and stuff. But in some respects, at least fighting over land rights, you're doing something rather than just immigrating into the United States and eminent domaining the entire country. The land of enchantment. No, no, it's the land of enchantment. Although sometimes I wonder what's so enchanting. Okay, beautiful views. There are some beautiful views and sunsets. Oh, home of the slave. Now here's a good one for you. Okay, my mom moves from California to Texas, and they have some black workers. And my mom is a painter, and she has a really heavy old art easel, and it fell on her. So she scrambled mostly out from underneath it, but she had a huge, like, probably the whole side of her arm was bruised. Beautiful colors, though. Scrapes. So, she pushes a button, and the girl comes to help her, and then standing over my mother with her hands on her hips. And my mom said, "Could you please help me out? Or could you help me out from underneath this?" And the girl says, "Well, ma'am, why don't you say please?" Needless to say, my mom was really unhappy and said, "You know what? My family wasn't even in the country when your great 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 greats were slaves. So don't give me that attitude and get me out from underneath here." I still haven't heard the end of that. Although it was a really beautiful bruise. It's like, it was a long time ago. And I understand why some people feel entitled, but I'm more pissed off about, trying to. ICE going to the Navajo Nation. ICE went to Santo Domingo. They were here before the immigrants. I mean, you can't, you shouldn't kick people off your own land. It's just, that's what people do. Which is not a good thing. I don't think anybody does good stuff anymore, except fight for the Constitution. Let's see. How do typos happen? Your fingers slip. Or, in like my case, I joined this really cool subscription club, and they have the crafts and they have the DIYs. The crafts are sewing, embroidery, crochet. It's all girly stuff. Now, the DIY, infusing vodka with fruit, making hot sauces, building things, whittling, carving. Well, with my first kit, I've discovered that, yes, indeed, my hands are bad. And I spent days drawing out this three-dimensional rat, on a square piece of wood so I could make this cool rat. So today I went and got a Dremel. Well, I'm sure that they're getting kickbacks from the oil companies of some sort. And of course they don't want you to film, because then maybe people will realize that fracking is going to destroy the springs and the water. And they don't want the people to know that. They don't want the people to find out that they're getting money. Yeah, I have to agree. The slaves were brought over here. They really don't like it. They could go back to Africa. But the natives have been here forever. We took the Puritans and white people and the Spanish took their land. It was funny once because my brother and I have both been, as my father says, on the dole. And I asked, my brother and I were talking to my dad, and he says, well, at least I know where my taxes go. And it's like, what? My dad says, my taxes go to feed you two through food stamps. It's like, see, Dad, you're still supporting us. I don't think Social Security should be taxed. I think there's only 10 states that do. But you got to make like 10 times what I make before they tax my Social Security. I just want to have enough money to be able to pay my bills and go to Farmington or Albuquerque now and then. Yeah, I'm sad that, well, the oil companies I can understand, and I'm sad that some of the Navajo elders don't want people to know what's going on. Because once the elders are gone, it's like our generation that gets stuck with the decisions that were made and the bad water, and the water can't be fixed. Once it gets into the groundwater, we're all screwed. And that's one thing that I like about living here. Oh yeah, I have a lot of friends who get like $8 to $11 in food stamps. And I just got my recertification, but I get like 120 or something. And there's like 16 pages. And it's like, that's an awful lot of paperwork to have to fill out. I mean, it just sort of floored me, the amount of paperwork I've had to do since I turned 65. And I understand why a lot of people don't get the drug programs or the Medicare they want, because there's just too much paperwork to fill out. I mean, I have a master's, and it gets confusing for me. And then, of course, if you don't give them your changes in your employment or changes in housing, I was once going to be really sarcastic with income support, and like every time my electric bill went up, send them, okay, I'm not paying $66 a month anymore. I'm now paying $68 a month. But last month, I got $1.54 credit on my electric bill because I have solar now. So it went from $169 a month, more or less. And last month I got $1.54 credit. I like those sunny days. Of course, I got to pay for the solar, but that payment will stay the same, whereas my electricity will always be going up. So I'm so far think it's a good idea. Yeah, penny saved. Boy, I got lots of pennies everywhere. I should gather them all up. I'd probably be rich. Oh, that's a good idea. I'd really be interested to see what the chapter president says about, this quote public meeting. If it's a public meeting, why did it all of a sudden turn private, and then didn't it go invitation only? I was waiting in the food box line, which, they gave us strawberry, blueberry, whipped cream topped little cheesecakes. Oh, my blood sugar was not happy. My mouth was happy, but my blood sugar didn't like it. Wow, 80, I couldn't even lift 88 pounds. Leo used to weigh 88 pounds, but the vet said he had to go on a diet, so he weighs 80 pounds now. I paid the doctor once in pennies. She said she wasn't going to accept it, and I said, then I want a receipt saying you will not accept my money, and I don't expect you to bill my insurance, nor me. She took the penny. Wow, a 5-gallon bucket. I guess I should get one of my 5-gallon buckets and start putting all my pennies in it. We used to keep him. I used to keep him in a water jug, but it broke. They do get brittle after a while. And finding a glass water bottle, well, that'd probably break too. That'd be much more dangerous than breaking plastic. I mean, I've broken a couple fish tanks, and every now and then find a piece of glass. It's not fun. Not fun at all. Okay, well, we're almost in an hour. I'm going to cut it in an hour. And hopefully I'll see you guys next Thursday. And, well, yeah, that's a lot of pennies to count. Although at casinos, they weigh them. Or at least they do. I've seen a couple of casinos where they put them on a scale to figure out how much the pennies weigh. Oh, and I watched a funny thing on I guess there's these Trump coins that have a gold-plated eagle on one side and a gold-plated Trump on the other. And the guy put nitric acid on it. And it was like the least, thinnest amount of gold, but it was gold. And then the rest of it was like copper. But it was really cool watching. Awesome, Brandon. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. And Four Corner, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday and hopefully sometime next week. Tomorrow I'm cleaning mouse cages to cut down on mouses. Just didn't get to it today. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be up and alive and cleaning cages. Rah! And if you think of any cool things to talk about or subjects, and it doesn't have to be auditing, it can be anything. I mean, we all do have other likes and dislikes. At least I think we do. Sometimes I wonder about some people. But, just add them to the comments. Oh, I have 2 ball pythons. I have a female lesser and a male spider. And that's actually why I started breeding rats. And then I started realizing, I realized I could sell them to the pet store. And then there was a mouse shortage. So I started breeding mice. And it's just, I need to cut down a little bit. But I'll keep breeding something. I mean, my snakies have to eat. Yeah, I love my pythons. They're in a 75-gallon tank, which is like 4 foot by 12 inches. So, we'll figure it out. Or is your spider on your page somewhere, Brandon? You're the second person I met who has a spider. I got mine right in the big, don't get a spider, don't get a spider, but he doesn't have any problems. Ah, okay. Here's your job between now and next week. You have to take a picture of your python and put him on your page so I could see him. And Four Corners will be just happy as long as, oh, bearded. I've never had a beardy. I had a Savannah monitor once. I like the pet store where I sell my mice has this really cool orange bearded dragon. I mean, he's really, really orange. And he's really friendly, too. Yeah, I had a Savannah monitor once. Sold him to a head shop. Bad idea. But I'm just... two snakes. I have 3 fish tanks. Way too many rats. Way too many mice. So just cutting down a little. So anyway, it's 1 hour and 1 minute. Ooh. Okay, now that's cool. I unluckily have... Well, I think the dogs that I have now are probably okay with cats. But I don't want to find out. So I'm down to 3 dogs. Which, having done dog rescue, is not very many dogs. But, okay, so Brandon, put some of your animals up. I'm very intrigued, and let me know how your possible interview is going, because that sounds really interesting. If you could get him to be open and candid. I really like watching the interviews that people do with, retired police officers or, not necessarily politicians, but, or people that have a cause. So, I will see you guys all next Thursday. Take it easy, and as usual, be safe. Now all I have to do is figure out how to turn it off. Ah! Okay, Gravy the cat. I will check out Gravy. That's a cool name. So, stay safe, everyone, and I will talk to you next week.